Fall Charter students, how are you doing? I hope you are well. I'm thinking about you and I'm missing your faces so much. And I'm really missing all those special hugs I used to get, and I cannot wait until the time is safe that I can get them again. So, we're going to pick back up on Payback on Poplar Lane, and we're still on the chapter about Rachel and her nervousness about writing the essay about why she wants to work for Peter Gronkowski, which I'm not so sure I would want to work for Peter Gronkowski. And remember, she felt nervous that she would get disqualified written on her essay. But then as you turn the page, we'll pick back up here. So she was worried that she'd get disqualified. But maybe not. Maybe I'd surprise everyone with my confident and amazing speaking skills. Who was I kidding? I gave the paper and pen back to Ken without writing a word. Rachel's not a big contest person, Clover explained. And remember, Clover is Rachel's friend who kind of speaks for her, and that bothers Rachel a bit. She'd probably win anyway. And I bet she wouldn't be disqualified, even though she was drawing a picture for an essay contest. What's Peter's new business? Clover asked as she dropped her entry into the crystal ball. She winked at me. An alien student exchange program? Ken snorted, good one. I waited for Clover to tell Ken that was my joke, but she didn't. He wouldn't have believed it anyway. Ken gave Clover a green wristband. This will get you one cupcake, he said. The door at the top of the stairs swung wide open. Peter's little brother, Daniel, ran out. The amazing Peter is on his way, Daniel yelled. He slammed the door behind him and ran down the stairs, nearly tripping over his superhero cape. He pressed a button on a fancy speaker, and spooky Halloween music filled the garage. But it's March, I thought. So it'd be like right now, we're in March, it'd be like having Halloween stuff right now. The door opened again, this time very slowly. And there he was, Peter Gronkowski. The crowd went quiet, even Clover. For a few seconds, Peter just stood at the top of the stairs. He came down slowly, one step at a time, like a king before his subjects. Peter wore a bathrobe with a t-shirt wrapped around his head like a turban. Most kids would never wear something like that. But for Peter, the most embarrassing the outfit, the cooler he looked. He walked on stage and stopped in the middle like he owned the room. I guess he kind of did, because it was his garage. But still, I felt dizzy, like his confidence sucked up all the air. Kids jostled to the front to get closer, like hungry fish fighting for chum. I held tight to Clover's sleeve, more like a barnacle. Being ignored hurts. Not just your feeling, but also your toes. People can crush them when they don't see you. When you're small, you somehow feel like you're always in the way, which doesn't make sense. Small people take up less space. But as small as I am, I always seem to be shrinking. I'm afraid one day I'll disappear. The Halloween music stopped. Welcome, Peter said. It's my great privilege to announce the launch of my new business, Fabulous Fortunes. And that's nice alliteration. Alliterations where you repeat the same sound. So the F, fabulous, and fortunes. I'm a big fan of alliteration. As he talked, he took gigantic steps back and forth across the stage. Peter Gronkowski was no barnacle. He was a great white shark ruling the whole ocean. I couldn't breathe, and not just because J.J. Roma's elbow was blocking my nostrils. Entering Peter's contest was something I had to try, for my own survival. If not, I could get washed away, and I think I'd rather swim. I let go of Clover's sleeve and tiptoed over to the crystal ball of opportunity. I want to write an essay, I whispered to Ken. He stared at Peter on stage like he was in a trance. I cleared my throat. Nothing. Ahem, I said again. Ken jumped. So did I. Huh? He said. I want to work for Peter Gronkowski. All right, and then moving on to chapter 2, which I know it's backwards, but this one's called Peter. So this is going to be all about Peter Gronkowski. Chapter 2, Peter. Business tip. To achieve success, you must first visualize it. Visualizing means you picture something in your head before it happens. I learned about visualizing from my mentor, successful local businessman Tom Reddy. It was in his monthly magazine, Mind Your Business, and I am a loyal subscriber. I closed my eyes and visualized a highly successful launch party for my new business, Fabulous Fortunes. I felt the breeze of dollar bills waving in my face. I smelled sweat and stress-activated cinnamon deodorant as kids shoved closer to the stage. I heard swish, my brother Daniel said, swish. I opened my eyes. Visualizing is silent, I said. Oh, he said. I re-visualized. I heard the crowd chanting, Peter rules, Peter rules. I tasted my post-party success snacks. One Little Buster's double fudge brownie, an ice-cold glass of 2% milk. I flew, Peter, said Daniel. I saw it in my brain. He hopped up and ran around the kitchen table, his cape streaming behind him. Dad wiped his hands on his apron. Great job, Danny boy, he said, and then they high-fived. I sighed. Daniel is 4. He has a lot to learn about visualizing. But Dad is 40, so he should know better. Business tip. Being a big brother is like being a boss. First, you're responsible for someone's personal and professional growth. Second, you get to tell them what to do. Daniel hugged Dad around his chocolate-covered knees. I like when you stay home from work, Daniel said. I cleared my throat. Business tip. Employees don't need to know everything. Daniels need to know that professionals walk and don't run, that leaders don't chew with their mouths open. But sometimes 4-year-olds do, huh? He doesn't need to know that Dad got laid off. Tom Reddy says knowing everything confuses people. It makes them uncooperative, unproductive, and unpredictable. Emotional. I'm a CEO. Emotions are not part of my skill set. I checked my watch, 3:57 p.m. It's time, I told Daniel. I patted him on the back. Remember, be professional. You can do it. I opened the door, staying out of my future customer's sight. Swish, Daniel yelled. He ran past me and barged down the stairs. Business tip. You can only control yourself and your reactions. I shut the door behind him. Just as I started my 10 rejuvenating jumping jacks, Dad put his hand on my shoulder. He smelled like vanilla. I like that smell. Hope they like the cupcakes, he said. Business tip. People who get laid off need encouragement. Laid off doesn't mean fired. Tom Reddy says when you're laid off, it's not your fault. It's in the laid off but not lying down issue of Mind Your Business. When someone loses their job, you're not supposed to ask what happened. Ask practical things. When is your next interview? And give helpful advice. Update your resume with marketable skills. Ooh, this frosting looks professional, I said. Almost as good as the cupcakes at Cone Zone. I wouldn't usually encourage Dad's baking habit. It's time he could spend job searching. But he needed encouragement, and my launch party needed cupcakes. That's a win-win situation. Music from My Failure is Frightening playlist flowed through the crack under the door. It's the perfect playlist for Fabulous Fortunes. First, there's a lot of F's here. I love that alliteration. Scary music is on brand with fortune telling. Second, fear is a great motivator for action. Go get 'em, Dad said. I nodded. Part of my job as a leader is putting out fires. Dad getting laid off is a big fire. But Fabulous Fortunes was a house. 1, 2, 3. I opened the door. Showtime. Welcome, I said. It's my great privilege to announce the launch of my new business, Fabulous Fortunes. Half of my future customers stared at me. The other half stared at the Peter Presents Incorporated Cupcake Tower. Business tip: be patient. People need time to process brilliance. Yay, Peter! Daniel yelled. He charged the stage with his arms stretched out. Business tip: everything is negotiable. That includes hugs. Every night I hug Daniel after we read bedtime articles from Mind Your Business. But I usually don't allow hugs in the workplace. I held up one hand to stop Daniel and stuck out my other hand. He grabbed it. We pulled in together for a one-handed hug backslap. That's the corporate handshake. I learned it from my second mentor, Granddad Gronkowski. He said the corporate handshake sends a message. I like you, but let's keep things professional. I checked my watch, 4:41 p.m. The watch is solid gold. The engraving on the back says time is money, BDG. BDG are Granddad's initials. He told me everything should be monogrammed. A monogram is your brand. Putting your brand on something says, this is mine. But it also says, this is me. Granddad gave me his watch before he died last summer. It's the official timepiece of Peter Presents Incorporated. I know this is a lot to take in, I reassured the crowd. The floor is now opened for questions. Mel Chang raised her hand. Business tip: people are like machines, predictable. Study their patterns. Mel is always first. She has to be. Her blog is about trends. Mel Chang, Poplar Lane blogger, she said. Mel always introduces herself at media events. That's how I know she's a real professional. She held up her charming copper, Atlas 6.0 phone like a recorder. Can you tell us more about Fabulous Fortunes? Certainly, I said. Mel is an IR, important relationship. Business tip: invest in IRs. Businesses live and die by Mel's 1 through 5 star reviews. Of course, I've never gotten less than a 5. Fabulous Fortunes is all about quality fortune telling by me. I'm a master fortune teller. Peter can see the future, yelled Daniel. Business tip: yelling is not professional. Perf, said Mel. That means perfect. Mel makes words shorter. It's part of her brand. A fortune teller, Clover O'Reilly said. That's so cool. Clover is not an IR like Mel Chang. I wouldn't take Clover mini golfing or buy her a root beer at the Cone Zone. Still, her opinion matters. If she says something is so cool, people listen to her. They have to. She's loud. And then Gabby Jonas raised her hand. State your name, I said. All right. We're going to stop right there, but we're going to pick up soon on another episode. See you soon.